All right, we are on 16-5 today, pages 267 to 268 in your book. And we definitely have some notes to take today, so make sure you have your notebook out. Today's lesson is not hard if you take the notes and pay attention. All of your answers can be answered by looking back at your notes. It's really easy. We have three main things we're talking about today. We're talking about intersecting lines, perpendicular lines, and parallel lines. Okay? What? That's dissecting. You dissect a frog. You don't intersect a frog. Okay? Intersection is like when you're at a red light, right? And there's cars coming from there. That's called an... Well, okay, hopefully not crashing. But that's called an intersection, which is great when you think about it because we're talking about intersecting lines. And in an intersection, those different roads intersect at the intersection where the lights are. So let's talk about intersecting lines first. So I'm going to write in my notes here. I'm going to write... Where's my... Okay, I want to make sure I'm not going off the page. Okay, intersecting lines are lines that meet or cross at a common point. And I'll zoom in on that so you can see that better. Okay? Intersecting lines are lines that meet or cross at a common point. Don't worry, we're going to draw examples too.
How do you know what this one is? We have to box that up.
Well, you know me, I like a good box.
I know you.
I'll be boxing it up. Your notes are your notes, but you know me. I'll be boxing. Okay, then I'm going to draw myself a little picture here to show what intersecting lines are. So, I'm going to draw... I know. I'll move it in a second. Oh, thank you. Alright, so here is a picture of some intersecting lines. And then we're also going to write a little bit of information below it, too, to kind of describe what our picture is. I know, I'm going a little fast. Just keep writing. Okay? So, we have our definition at the top. It tells us that intersecting lines are lines that meet or cross at a common point. Okay? So, you can see in this picture, we have two lines, right? And they're not my straightest lines ever. I could have used a ruler to help with that, but I didn't, so. But you can see we have two lines here. We have line AB, and we have line CD. Everyone agree? And where do these two lines intersect or cross over? At point E, right? So we're going to write that down here. We're going to write...
Can you go lower?
Yeah, I'm about to. I wanted to make sure everyone had that first. I'll zoom out in a second, too, so you can get the whole thing. So we're going to write lines AB and CD intersect at point E. And then I can finish up my little box here. Okay? So lines A, B, and C, D, right? We have line AB here going this way from A to B. We have line CD here going this way from C to D, and they intersect right there in the middle at point E. Intersect means to like cross over, right? So just like an intersection on the road where you guys are crossing in front of other traffic going the other way, right? Okay, intersect is to like cross over. It's where they meet up and keep going, right? Okay. Alright, how are we doing? We ready to keep going?
No. Yeah. No.
Okay, I'll wait just a second.
Can we move on there?
That's up to you. Okay. Alright. You doing good? Ready to move on to perpendicular lines? Okay. Everyone say perpendicular. Okay. Perpendicular lines are another type of intersecting lines, but they intersect in a very specific way. So let's talk about that. So we're going to come up here, and I'm going to write perpendicular. Let's make sure I spell it right. Okay. Perpendicular lines are intersecting lines that form four right angles. Now we know what a right angle is, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it's a perfect corner, right? Also known as a square angle or a 90-degree angle. There's lots of different things you can call it. But we know that it makes like straight corners, right? Perfect corners, yeah? Mm-hmm. So perpendicular lines, they also intersect just like our intersecting lines on the last one. The difference is perpendicular lines intersect to make four right angles. We'll draw a picture of that in just a second. You can also probably see it in your notes, but okay, I'm gonna start drawing my picture a little bit. I'll keep that there. You can still see it. Keep the other one there too. You can actually see both of them. Okay, so with perpendicular lines, I can use my graph paper to help me make these lines because these are going straight up and down and side to side. So my graph paper can help me keep straight lines here. Mark my points. Okay. That's up to you. Usually when you label things, points though, you're going to label them uppercase. Okay. Now, if I look at these points, I have a right angle here, yes. A right angle here. I'll fix it in just a second. A right angle here. And a right angle here. You can see I have four right angles with perpendicular lines. I'll make it less blurry for you, one sec. Okay. That's alright. So you can see here, when they intersect to make four right angles, then they're perpendicular. So intersecting lines are lines that intersect but don't make right angles. So you see these aren't perfect corners, right? These are not perfectly 90-degree angled corners over here. These are, yes? So, intersecting lines are lines that intersect but don't make right angles. Perpendicular lines are lines that intersect with 4 right angles, okay? It's like a perfect cross, right? Straight up and down, straight across. They make a perfect cross, yes? Does that make sense to everybody?
No.
What's not making sense?
Everything.
Well, you can always check a right angle by using anything that has a right angle, anything that has a corner. So look, these are some Kroger coupons my grandma brought me that I haven't taken in my car yet. They have a right angle on them, right? You can see this is a perfect corner, yeah? Okay, so I can put my perfect corner here, and they line up perfectly, right? That's a right angle. I can put my perfect corner here, lines up perfectly, that's a right angle. I can put my perfect corner here, lines up perfectly, that's a right angle. I can put my perfect corner here, lines up perfectly, that's a right angle. But if I come over here, does this line up perfectly?
No.
No, because these aren't right angles, right? They're not going to line up perfectly. We have 2 obtuse and 2 acute angles over here. None of those angles are right, meaning these are just intersecting lines, not perpendicular. These are perpendicular because they have 4 right angles. You can always test a right angle by using anything that has a perfect corner. You could use the edge of a book. That fits, that lines up, yeah? My corner's a little bit messed up, but you can see, right? Okay? This one, not so much. It's not going to fit the same because that's an obtuse angle, so there's too much space. This one over here is an acute angle. I can't see the other line. It doesn't fit perfectly. Those aren't right angles. Does that help? So perpendicular over here, these make 4 right angles. Intersecting lines intersect but do not make right angles. Does that make sense? Okay. So I'm going to write under my picture here that line FG is perpendicular to line HI, right? FG is this one, and it crosses with HI to make 4 right angles, so they are perpendicular to each other. Write that in real quick, and then we'll do our last vocab, parallel lines. All right, are we ready for parallel? Not quite? Okay. You what? Oh, yesterday we didn't write anything, right? And today we have a lot to write. That's okay though, because really, after we get our notes down, you can reference your notes for every single question on your homework. Your homework's going to give you like a picture, and it's going to say, are these lines perpendicular, intersecting, or parallel? And you can say, let me just remember what that means. Go look at your notes and be like, oh, these 2 lines intersect to make 4 right angles. That's going to be perpendicular. Oh, these 2 lines intersect, but they don't make any right angles. That's going to be intersecting. Or these 2 lines are we ready for parallel? Are you ready for parallel? You can say, or these 2 lines never touch, and they are parallel. So let's write our parallel definition. Everyone say parallel. Parallel lines are lines in the same plane. Plane just means like on the page together, okay? Oh, I'm sorry, I can't even see that. In the same plane that never intersect. They are not going to touch at all. They are never going to intersect. And we'll draw a picture to show that in just a second. Same plane. That just means on the same section of your paper, on the same, they go together. But they actually are never going to touch. Well, I'll draw a picture in a second. Okay? So parallel lines are lines in the same plane that never intersect. Oh, sorry, I got blurry. I don't know why it does that. It makes me, it's just annoying because it fixes as soon as I uncast and recast. But why it does it in the first place, I don't know. If I knew how to stop it, I would. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and start drawing my picture. There's a pretty easy picture here. I'm going to draw two lines. They're not going to touch each other.
Oh, easy.
It's because we're working. Okay, here's my picture here. I have two lines. Are they touching?
No.
Are they ever going to touch?
No.
No, because they're both straight lines and they're going on forever in their directions. They are never going to touch because they're straight lines exactly equal distance apart from each other.
What?
Right? Okay, there's no way. They could go on forever and ever and ever in each direction, but they are never going to touch because they're straight lines. So they're not going to curve or bend or turn and touch each other. They're always going straight in the direction that they are, and they will absolutely never cross paths. They will not intersect. Evelyn.
What if they go through all the letters in the alphabet? Would they have to restart at
I guess. Yeah. Or they would label it like AA or something. Right. Okay. Oh, Vincent.
It's kind of like in space, because when you go to space, it takes forever and ever just to get all the way to the other side.
Yeah. Okay. So, for this one, I can write line KL is parallel to line MN. Man, it got blurry again. That's because it doesn't get blurry on my screen. It just gets blurry on my computer screen. It's only blurry on the TV, so it's got to be a TV issue. But I still don't understand. Or like a internet issue, but you would think the internet would also affect my computer screen. I don't know.
Don't shut it down because you don't want that.
Well, I'm not going to shut it down. I'm just going to keep uncasting and recasting to make it clearer.
Or you should shut the TV.
If I shut the TV down, then we'd have nowhere to take notes.
Yes, I will. On your note.
You wouldn't. But if they weren't on the TV, how would you see my notes?
Well, I would just
That would take twice. It already takes a long time for us to take notes. That would take twice.
Write it on here.
Okay. Now, does everyone have these notes?
Yes. No. Yes.
Okay, I'll give you just a minute more because then it's almost time to go to homework. We're going to go over something real quick, but it won't take very long before we are able to move to our homework. And I don't think it will take you that long to do your homework. I think you're going to be able to do it pretty quickly.
How many questions do we have?
6.
Just the back page.
Well, I guess the front, so 9. But the first one, the first 3 are super easy. Okay, are we ready? Okay. Ooh, oh, look at those notes. They look so nice and neat. You know me. I love a good math note. I love a good math note page. All right. So I want to look at our book for a second at this example problem that they give us, because you'll notice there's some streets here. It gives you like some streets as if it was a map, right? And you'll notice there's a lot of lines here. You might see some parallel, some perpendicular, some intersecting. So let's take a look. It says one road on the map is parallel to Oak Street. To find the road parallel to Oak Street, look at the types of lines made by the roads on the map. So it wants us to find the road. Oak Street is in purple here. I think, yeah, blue, purple. It's in a different color, right? And it wants you to find what street is parallel to Oak Street. Remember, parallel lines never intersect. So looking at all of these streets, which street is parallel to Oak Street?
I don't know.
Lauren? It's in your book too, if you can. Well, Elm Drive goes right through Oak Street here, right? Parallel lines never do what? You have your notes right in front of you. What do parallel lines never do? They never intersect. So if Elm Street goes straight through Oak Street there, that's called a what? That's an intersection. So it can't be Elm Street. Elm Street crosses right through. Pine Drive is parallel. See these two lines? They both go here and they go on forever. They're never going to touch. Oak Street is straight in both directions. Pine Drive is straight in both directions. They are never going to touch. They are parallel. Okay? What street is perpendicular to Oak Street? Just while we're talking about it. What street is perpendicular? So look back in your notes. Remind yourself what perpendicular means. Which street is perpendicular to Oak Street? Everly? Avenue, right. Maple Avenue. If we look at where Maple Avenue and Oak Street intersect, there are 4 right angles. Remember, we can double check. We can grab our straight angle. Yep, there's one right angle. That works. There's another. I can see both lines. That works. And there's another. And if there's 3, there's definitely going to be 4 right angles right there. So that's a perfect 4 right-angled intersection, making them perpendicular lines. Okay, what street intersects Oak Street without being perpendicular? What street intersects Oak Street? Not a perpendicular intersection, just an intersection. What street, Jackson? Elm Lane, right? Elm Lane goes straight through Oak Street right here, but if I do my right angle test, is that a right angle?
No.
No. What about this one? Is that a right angle? No. Not 4 right angles, so it intersects, but it's not perpendicular, right? Now, I want to take a look at this one real quick. How would you describe the relationship between Maple Avenue and Elm Lane? I want you to look at those real quick. Technically, on our page here, do they show them touching? No. But I want you to think about their lines, right? So they have an arrow that means they're going to go on forever, yes? So if I look here, I have Maple Avenue coming this way, and I have Elm Lane going that way. How would you describe those 2 lines? How would you describe the relationship between those 2 lines? Lily?
Well, if Maple Avenue goes on forever and Elm Lane goes on forever, they will eventually touch.
They will, and what type of lines would they be then?
It will become intersecting.
Yeah, those 2 are intersecting lines. So sometimes you have to be careful on maps like this. It might give you a question and say, what is the relationship between Elm Lane and Maple Avenue? You might look at them and say, oh, well, in this picture they don't touch, so maybe they're parallel. But no, are they going the same direction? No. You have to remember, these are lines. Lines go on for what? Lines go on forever. So if I'm not sure, I can just continue my lines. I'm going to keep Maple Avenue coming down here. And I'm going to send Elm Lane going down there. And oh my goodness, what happened? They intersected. Did they intersect perpendicularly? Meaning, are there right angles at this intersection?
No.
No, so they're not perpendicular, but they are intersecting. So even though the picture doesn't show you their intersection, you can imagine that these lines keep going, and you're going to see that they do indeed intersect. Does that make sense? Okay? So be careful, because you do have homework or you have a question on the back page. I'm not even sure. It might not give you one like that, but it might. Okay? Reminder real quick. Just one more quick reminder. When we look at this back page like this, remember how we name lines. So if it says, we're talking about HN and KJ over here, right? Remember, we find H, we find N, sorry. We find H, we find N, that's one of our lines we're talking about, right? And then we find K and J, that's our other line. And so then we can find the relationship between those two lines, right? Just remember, there's going to be a lot of letters here. You're only looking at the letters it wants you to look at. So make sure you read the problem and look at it. It's going to give you two lines. Here it gave us HN and KJ. Number 2, EG and AB. Okay? On number 3, it doesn't give you any lines. It wants you to pick two lines that appear to be parallel. So then you have to name those lines, right? You're going to have to grab those lines, grab the letters, and write them in. Okay? Same thing with number 4. Name a pair of lines that appear to be perpendicular. Okay, so remember when you're naming the lines, you grab 2 points that are on either side of the line, right? And you can call it line HN or line HK. Or you could write it like this too. Either one works, right? Can you see that? That's like, there you go. Either one works. You could write it like that, or you could write line HN. Both of those are valid options for naming your lines, okay? You have 15 minutes to do your homework. You have 9 problems. I want you to the front and back. On the first 3, you're just writing true or false about those lines. It's going to ask you, it's going to give you some information about perpendicular, parallel, and intersecting lines. You're telling me if it's true or false. On the back, you're going to be telling me the relationship of some lines. Are they perpendicular, intersecting, or parallel? So, your homework, I'll write that down here for you real quick. Your homework is, 16-5, pages 267 to 268. Oh, but that's only 9 problems in total. I think you can get that done. If you have questions, let me know. You may eat your snack and go ahead and get to work.